Hello, everybody. It's Mrs. Pound, and we have been studying Chapter 6.1 on genetics from Purposeful Design Life Science. Today's section that we're going to talk about is 6.1.4 on the genetic code and mutations. So, our objectives today are going to be to describe the process of protein synthesis and state the roles of mRNA and tRNA, and explain how a mutation can occur and give examples of human genetic mutations. So, the genetic code is the chemical instructions that translate genetic information. Remember, it's carried in the DNA, and DNA forms chromosomes. So, the steps of protein synthesis. That means how proteins are made. The first step is that the DNA unzips, and this probably sounds very familiar. It's the same first step as for DNA replication. And in fact, many parts of the process are very similar, but then it changes. Step two is that the RNA nucleotides pair up with the DNA nucleotides. So just like with replication, the A's match up with the T's, and the G's with the C's, except for there is a little bit of a twist. In RNA, there's no T, okay? Instead, there is a U for uracil. So if there's an A on the DNA, the RNA will have a U. However, if there's a T on the DNA, it will match up with an A for the RNA. So the only difference is we switch out a U for a T. Okay, and that's kind of easy to remember too, because right after an alphabet, the T is a U. So that's the only thing you have to remember there that is different for the matchups. Then step three is the single-stranded mRNA leaves the nucleus and takes its message to a ribosome. Remember, ribosomes are the location for protein synthesis and cells. And so the mRNA, and mRNA stands for messenger RNA. So it's taking the message from the nucleus out to the ribosomes. That's why it's called messenger RNA. And then step four, tRNA, which is transfer RNA, reads the instructions on the mRNA that's attached to the ribosome and gathers the appropriate amino acid that matches the mRNA triplet. What happens is the message is in codes of three. So each three letters is a code for an amino acid, and amino acids are what make up proteins. Proteins are chains of amino acids, and so we will be practicing this whole process in class. We're going to take a look at those codes because scientists have discovered the specific codes that code for the different amino acids, and so we will be going through this whole process in class. Now, this doesn't always happen perfectly. Sometimes there are mutations, and a mutation is a change in the sequence of one or more nucleotides in a DNA molecule. Mistakes happen. And there are causes for those mistakes. In fact, sometimes these mutations are spontaneous. We really don't know what caused it. It just happened. There was a mistake made somewhere, and it results in a mutation. However, there are also what are called mutagens, and these are physical or chemical agents that cause mutations to occur. So here in the background, toxic substances can cause mutations. And some other examples of mutagens are x-rays. That's why it's not good to have too many x-rays taken, and that is also why they cover certain organs on your body with the lead vest and everything and the lead aprons when they're taking x-rays. UV light, so that can cause skin cancer, right? Radiation, that's why radiation is bad for us to be exposed to too much of it, because it will cause mutations, especially things like cancer, which is ironic because we also use radiation to battle cancer. Pesticides can cause mutations, and cigarette smoke. That's why it's not good to smoke. It causes mutations in the lung that lead to lung cancer. So, consequences. Mutations can be harmless and are not expressed if they occur as sections of DNA that do not code for proteins. So sometimes there are mutations in the DNA that we don't even know about because it just is not needed. Okay, so not even a problem. However, mutations can cause physical problems or death if they lead to incorrect synthesis of proteins. Like I said, the cigarette smoke can lead to cancer. Um, there are also other mutations we're going to talk about, things like hemophilia, where blood does not clot correctly, that's passed between generations. Um, there's also cystic fibrosis, which affects the lungs. Okay, there are many different types of diseases caused by genetic mutations that can be passed on um, to people in families. But then there are other ones like the cancers, some cancers like with the cigarette smoke that are not passed on. It depends on where the mutation takes place. So our objectives were to describe the process of protein synthesis, state the roles of mRNA and tRNA, and explain how a mutation can occur and give examples of human genetic mutations. So don't forget your 5 questions in your notes and also keep watching this video to answer the questions at the end.